All right. It's fixing to make a plan. It's supposedly streaming, but who knows? I think we're streaming. Well,
Hello.
welcome, Podfeet.
Welcome, Steve. All right, Mike is covering roll call for Al. We have a fairly light crowd, but they seem very enthusiastic. We've got Seamus and Kevin and Mike and Jill and John and Rick and Steve and anybody else in the sidebar? Don't see
Mike
anybody.
came through with roll call. Excellent.
Good work. Glad we have standbys. And Jill, I think, is the ranking female member of the cast tonight. You're going to have to stand in for Sandy in defense of my honor and things like that, if that's acceptable to you.
Because God knows it needs defending a lot.
Well, it's a lot of boys to the two of us tonight, it looks like.
Yeah.
All right, I got a lot of reading to do, so I'm going to kick right into the show. How's that sound?
It sounds good. Let me get out of here.
Turning on attack mode, Kevin says. All right, Jill's got it. Nicely done. I like that, GIF. All right, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, April 30th, 2023, and this is show number 938. Attack. Oh, nicely done. So we're going to save that as NCEP, semicolon, save. All right. I wish I had just made Programming by Stealth its own show. It's getting sillier and sillier to call it. Chit Chat Across the Pond 767, Bart Bouchat's on PBS 150 of X. Bass Grip Plumbing.
Agreed.
And I also feel funny sending people to my website for the show notes, because what you get is a link to the show notes.
Sandy made it.
Oh, good. Woo.
Welcome, Sandy. Boy, we thought something was wrong. Oh, Discord
Jill stood in for you for a minute there. She was standing by, ready to cover your work.
Photon torpedoes locked on.
All right. 2 minutes. Okay, I am going to keep going here. Here we go. Well, this week on Chit Chat Across the Pond, it's another installment of Programming by Stealth, and Bart and I took a few minutes up front to high-five each other for 150 episodes of Programming by Stealth, and we quickly got to work. Way back in Taming the Terminal podcast, which you can find at ttt.bartificer.net, Bart taught us about stream redirection, or what he likes to call terminal plumbing. This was a long time ago, and many folks may not have listened to that great series. So Bart takes us through it again, but from the perspective of writing bash scripts that can do everything we can do in the terminal. We learn about standard input, std in, standard output, std out, and standard error, std error. We also learn how to bifurcate standard out and standard error to produce our desired results. He walks us through how to use the symbols greater than, less than, and our friend the pipe to redirect output from commands and files. I did get stuck for quite a while in quite a few spots here and there. Bart continues to try to convince me that if I'm confused, at least one other learner is well, so hopefully making Bart find different ways to explain these things to help me will help you. You can, of course, find Bart's fabulous tutorial show notes over at pbs.bartificer.net, and you can find Programming by Stealth in your podcatcher of choice. Stop. Why aren't you stopping? There we go.
You having some stoppage issues?
Yeah. It's just being annoying. Let me see. This gap sounded a little long. Number 938. Well, this week on...
Oh, that's fine.
Good. Yeah. Cut this one off a little bit, though. I'm still running beta software for recording the podcast. They were supposed to get out a beta on Tuesday, but they did not for Hindenburg. Yeah. Jill and I went to their very exciting announcement. All right, I'm going to start with the last CSUN chapter mark. I'm making a squeaky noise. It's a high squeaky noise. Name the movie. Steve, you've got it. Hear it? Oh, Steve's not listening. Maybe somebody else knows what it is. Oh, I've got a weird problem. I know you're shocked to find I have a weird problem. All of the documents on my desktop from a certain time period backwards are invisible. So I've got 19 items on my desktop, but unless I show invisible items, there's only 3. Isn't that neat? One of them is the CSUN files. Ruh-roh, where is it? Steve, I am going to need that from you again. Oh, no, I did. I already brought it in. Never mind. Oh, actually. Okay. That is a problem I do need to work on. Yeah, macOS is playing hide and seek. Oh, actually, while I'm doing that, do 2 things at once. Open up Hush. Should have run Hush first, but we're going to run it through. Actually, choose a folder. And we're going to put it right back in here. Open. And then we'll field them in there. There it goes. All right, let me do a quick recording while that's going on. All right, let's play our last interview from the CSUN Assistive Technology Conference for 2023. And it'll be done shortly. This is an interesting one. It's backpacks for the blind and people in wheelchairs. And they're really cool. They're really, really nice backpacks. I was kind of jealous. They look pretty slick. Vamping a little bit here while I wait for Hush to finish its magic. I should have that in my workflow to do ahead of time. Almost done. Okay, did Steve actually leave? Where did he go?
I'm just working in the background.
Oh, okay. So you didn't get my joke.
I did get, but I was in the middle of getting some post. Getting the post ready.
I kind of blame Stage Manager. I wonder if that's it. I definitely, oh, you put them in a folder and took them out again. I ran some script that was supposed to fix it, and it did, and then it happened again. But it's only some of the files now, which is very odd. All right, let's hear how this connection goes. 23. I'm in the Fieldom booth with Adrienne Masco, and she's got some really interesting products here. Cool. All right, you don't get to hear about it now. But we will go here to, now we're going to hear about PopFrame. And I think I'll do a chapter mark. Junkie, so this is great.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Okay. And PopFrame. All right, here we go. But you didn't like my joke about the high squeaky noise. It was from Chevy Chase's Christmas
Vacation.
No, you don't get credit now.
I had it all loaded, ready to go.
This is weird. This post doesn't have a featured image. What the heck?
Mine does, or at least the blog post does.
That's weird. It's just not showing in here. Maybe they don't. Okay, never mind. All right, here we go. Places, everybody.
There's a featured image.
Oh, good. You may have noticed that I take a lot of screenshots. I use them in my blog posts. I send them to my friends and family and messaging apps to teach them how to do things. I post them to services like Mastodon and Slack, and I send screenshots to developers when I need to ask a question. I create screen recordings too from the iPhone for all of the same reasons. Frankly, though, I think screenshots on the iPhone look silly. Now that the phones are tall and skinny, screenshots really look out of proportion, and it looks like they're missing some piece of information. The one thing that can make them look better is to put a bezel frame around them that mimics the physical frame of an iPhone. Now, I've experimented with so many different methods to do this, and they've all had their drawbacks. I've tried shortcuts made by people who are very good at this sort of thing, but they always go stale when a new version of the iPhone comes out, and they're clumsy and a little bit hard to use. My beloved Affinity Photo comes with templates for iPhone and other device frames, but it's really stale. The latest it has is the iPhone XS. Now, Apple let you download their official bezels, and I put a link in the show notes in case you're interested, and I've dropped them into Affinity Photo and then tried to resize my screenshots on a layer under the bezel frame. At best, it's tedious, time-consuming, and error-prone. At worst, I can never get them to be quite aligned properly. For Screencast Online work, we do use the official bezel frames, and we align them under the video and ScreenFlow, but the more recent ones don't work properly. If the video and frame are aligned and sized correctly, there are these wee tiny little corners of the video sticking out from under the frame. We have to do some real shenanigans to fix it every single time. So every year or so, I kind of go on a hunt for a new solution to this annoying problem, and this time my hunt was rewarded by a fantastic tool called PopFrame for iPhone in the App Store. In literally seconds, I can add a screenshot to my iPhone. That's not what I want to say. Add a frame to a screenshot. In literally seconds, I can add a frame to a screenshot from my iPhone. The process to put a frame on a screenshot with PopFrame could not possibly be any easier. You take a screenshot by holding the volume and up and side. Okay, stumbling too much. iPhone in the App Store. In literally seconds, I can add a frame to a screenshot of my iPhone. The process to put a frame on a screenshot with PopFrame could not possibly be any easier. Take a screenshot by holding down the volume up and side buttons and save it to your Photos library. Launch PopFrame and tap the big plus button on the screen. After giving PopFrame access to your Photos library the first time, select your screenshot, and almost immediately you'll see your screenshot with a perfect iPhone frame around the image. It will be beautifully displayed on a lovely blurred background that's created from the colors in the screenshot. That's it. That's all you have to do. PopFrame doesn't even ask you which iPhone you use for the screenshot. It just works. Now, if you're happy with the effect, tap the share icon and go on your merry way. But PopFrame has a lot more options to tailor the image to be even more interesting. After PopFrame adds the image and background to your image, you'll see 4 buttons right below it. The first button allows control of the background. I mentioned that by default, the background is a blurry version of the screenshot itself. You can also choose from a bunch of different gradient backgrounds that look very Apple-y. If you have no joy in your life, you can also choose a dark gray, black, or white background. You can also choose to have a transparent background if you need to drop that image onto an existing background. If you want to get back to the blurry image background I described as the default, look for an icon representing an image. You know the classic mountains with the sun? It's that one. Now, most screenshots I take are of app interfaces, and the blurry image background isn't very interesting. But I tried it with a screenshot of a photo in my Photos library of some purple and orange flowers with green leaves. The background became a soft blur of purple, orange, and green hues. It's actually quite a lovely effect. Now, you can control the size and shape of your image using the button that has double arrows going outside. By default, PopFrame creates a square image that's 3000 by 3000 pixels. With the double arrow control, you can choose a tall portrait orientation that's 1620 by 2880 or a nice wide image at 4320 by 2430. Now, that aspect ratio is perfect for a slide deck because it's 16 by 9. Now, there's also an option to show a square close-up of the screenshot in its frame. So like, say, just the top half of the phone or the top third of the phone. If you choose this option, you can slide the image up and down until you're showing just the part of the screen that you desire. As you slide the image, you get some haptic feedback. Oh, that was hard to say. Haptic feedback as it jumps between the 5 different crops you can choose from. Now, my explanation sounds really clumsy, but if you do it yourself, it's really slick. If you take a screenshot with your iPhone in landscape mode, PopFrame adapts beautifully by offering you a square or landscape version of your screenshot with a background. You can choose one of the beautiful gradient options or one of the joyless solid color backgrounds, and you can add a drop shadow to the iPhone on those backgrounds. The third button has a circle cut in half with a shadow, and that invokes a little slider. As you drag the slider to the right or left, it moves the shadow to that side. The first detent in the slider is a nice soft shadow, while the end detents are a crisp shadow. If you have no joy in your life, put the slider in the middle to remove the shadow entirely. Now, the final button under the image shows a little phone frame. This button allows you to change the color of the iPhone frame itself to match your actual iPhone, or maybe the iPhone you wish you had. If you do have joy in your life and just got the brand new yellow iPhone, you can have the frame on your screenshot match your favorite color. All right, now I'm going to tell you the crazy part. Everything I've described for screenshots is completely free with PopFrame. I would have paid easily $5 for this app, maybe more. Ramik Sadhana, the developer of PopFrame, does have a way to make money, and it's by charging a tiny amount to add frames to screen recordings. So everything I described was doing frames for screenshots, I should say. Now, if you want to add all this frame beauty to your screen recordings on your iPhone, it will cost you 3 credits for each video. Ramik gives you 10 credits for free, just so you can try it out. If you need more credits, you can buy 15 for $1, 30 for $2, or 45 for $3. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to need to make 15 videos, but I wanted to pay Ramik, so I bought the fancy 45 credit option for a grand sum of $3. But the story gets even better. Let's say you can't afford to pay even this small sum for your screen recordings to look snazzy. Ramik has an option he calls Promote the App, which watermarks your video with a little tag on the side of the iPhone that says PopFrame PopFrame App. I thought that was a really cool way to do it. It's very unobtrusive. It's just a little tiny tag. Now, in addition to all the options I described for making your screenshots look impressive, when you import a video to PopFrame, you also get the option to add touch points to the screen in the video. This is one of the annoying things about doing screencasting for iOS, showing people exactly where you tapped within a video. With PopFrame, you get a little slider to scroll through the video, and then you can tap in different spots to show where you tapped. If you didn't tap quite right, there's a little trash can that'll allow you to delete that touch point. Could not be easier. So expect to see iPhone screenshots looking a lot prettier than they ever did before on podfeet.com, thanks to PopFrame. Check it out in the App Store for the grand price of $0. All right.
Well done. Although we have a little snoring going on in here.
Uh-oh.
Someone's had a long weekend with Dodger.
We made her do a walk. Is that a cool app, you guys?
I like
really
it.
Was excited about that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Tiny Mac Tips. Part 6.
Ooh.
A bunch of people sent me feedback on this one when I posted the blog post. They were liking it. George from Tulsa liked it. Okay. Tiny Mac Tips. Here we come. Oh, I should do my Tiny Tip music. What are you typing about? Oh, good. Glad you liked it, Sandy and Jill. All right. Well, I'm back with part 6 of Tiny Mac Tips. This is an ongoing series I started in order to teach Jill from the North Woods how to move from being an adequate Mac user to being a proficient one. In case you missed the earlier installments, I included links to the first 5 installments in the blog post for part 6. All right, let's start with this first one. One of my favorite party tricks to show new and even seasoned Mac users is to demonstrate that clicking on their trackpad is a lie. If you push on a relatively modern Mac trackpad, either the internal one on a laptop or an external Magic trackpad, you can feel a distinct click, just like any other trackpad you've ever used. When it clicks, you can feel it move. Now, Apple refer to their trackpads in some support articles as Force Touch trackpads, and I'll get into that in a little bit and explain what Force Touch does in the next tip. So Force Touch happens when you push down harder than a click on an Apple trackpad, and it feels like it pushes in even farther. Oh, I cannot say that. Got to fix that. So Force Touch happens when you push down even harder than a click on an Apple trackpad, and it feels like it pushes in even farther. But here's how to prove it's a lie. Turn off your Mac or your Magic trackpad. Now, Try to click the trackpad. It does not move. Now, it's not that it's now locked, it's that it was never actually moving in the first place. Apple tricked us into using haptic feedback to give the feeling of a click, and it feels like it's actually moving when it isn't. Seriously, try shutting down. It's positively freaky. I got to wondering how Apple actually simulates that kick. Gosh darn it, stumbling a lot. Seriously, try shutting down. I got to wondering exactly how Apple simulate that click. I turned to iFixit for a teardown of the Magic Trackpad. If you scroll down on the link in the show notes to the teardown, you'll see the part that performs this magic, and even better, they explain how it works. The part is called the Taptic Engine, not Haptic Engine, because Apple liked to invent fun new names for things. The Taptic Engine shown in the teardown is a bracket with 4 coils of copper wire on 4 posts, and then the end of each wire coil are connected to the bracket. iFixit explained next to the image like this. These coils of copper wire form a powerful electromagnets that push and pull against the steel bar mounted to the underside of the trackpad surface, causing the entire surface to rapidly and shortly buzz, simulating the sound and feel of a click. So maybe the click isn't a lie as much as maybe a fib. The Taptic Engine does buzz inside the trackpad, so technically it's moving a little bit, but it also explains why when you cut the power to your MacBook or your Magic Trackpad, you can't feel the click. Electromagnets only work when electricity is running through the coils. So next time you're at a boring party, get out your trackpad and amaze the other partygoers by turning it off and showing them how it doesn't click. That will be sure to liven things up. All right, now that we know about the lying trackpad, I promised to tell you about Force Touch. On a Mac, you can do all kinds of nifty things by pushing just that little bit extra on your trackpad. My favorite thing to do is look up words in things I'm reading. First time you use Force Touch on a word, you'll get a pop-up explaining that you've triggered lookup. This explains the kinds of things you can find out with lookup. If you dismiss the pop-up and try again to Force Touch on a word, this time you'll be rewarded with the dictionary definition of your word and synonyms from the thesaurus. The word I chose to use in the screenshots for the article was preferences, and in the sentence, it was in the phrase system preferences. In the pop-up with the definition of jeez, why am I just so in the stumble. In the pop-up.
Pilot Pete joined us.
Who did?
Pilot Pete.
Pilot Pete.
Yeah.
Oh, I know why he's here.
You know why?
Because he's going to get a shout out.
Aha.
Where is he?
Hello,
is he
Pete.
Is
Welcome.
he in the sidebar?
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah, that's fun. Okay.
Yeah.
In the pop-up with the definition and synonyms, it also explained what system preferences is from Apple. So I think it got it out of context, even though I only selected the word preferences. In the bottom of the pop-up, you'll also see Siri knowledge and Siri suggested websites. These options are contextual depending on what you selected with Force Touch. Like I said, my example is just a word, but you can Force Touch other things. Siri knowledge for my example of the word preferences gives me a short paragraph from Wikipedia and offers to take me into Wikipedia to read more. Likewise, the Siri suggested websites options gave me an overview paragraph from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy and offered to take me there. While the support article from Apple that explains everything you can do with Force Touch still refers to system preferences instead of the modern system settings, it has a great explanation of all the cool things you could do with Force Touch. I really had no idea how many things it could do before researching for this article. Now, I'm not going to read them all to you because this is supposed to be a tiny tip, but Force Touch on an address brings up maps, on dates it adds them to the calendar, and on flights it gets details of the flight. You can see previews of web pages by force clicking on a link. I'm not even halfway through telling you everything that Force Touch can do. It's really worth exploring the support article to familiarize yourself with all of the options. In System Preferences or System Settings trackpad, you can modify how to invoke Force Touch. Because Apple loves to use different names for the same thing, in the trackpad settings they call it Force Click and Haptic Feedback. You can turn Force Click entirely off if you want. You can still get lookup and data detectors like maps and phone numbers using tap with 3 fingers, or you can turn it all off if you like. Now, you may not remember, but I told you about another trackpad gesture back in part 3 of my Mac Tiny Tips called 3-finger drag. Obviously, if you've enabled 3-finger drag of your Windows, you won't want to use a 3-finger drag to access lookup. Okay, let's stop here for a second. Have another sip. Pilot Pete, this is the first time you've been here to the live show, isn't it? And I have a note here on my little pad there. It says, Pete, because I keep not answering you. And I know you're waiting for an answer from me. I swear I sent you an ad read and now I can't find it. So I got to write it again. But we had my grandkids all weekend and that's my excuse for not getting back to you sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did I play on my computer this weekend?
Not much other than putting the show together.
I recorded with Bart and that was it. Okay. Right. Okay. This is the tip that George really liked. All right. Those last 2 tiny tips weren't all that tiny. So let's cleanse our palate with a truly tiny tip. Imagine you're working away in Safari or Photos or any third-party app, and you realize you need to search for a file in the Finder. You could click on the desktop or the Finder icon in your dock to bring forward a Finder window, and then you could click in the little search box, or you could hit Command F to start a search. But it turns out you don't have to launch Finder separately. You can start the search while you're inside any application. So while in any app, hit Command Option space, and it will instantly open a new Finder window directly to the Finder search field. How cool is that? Now, this keystroke may not stick right away in your muscle memory, but here's a way to remember it. Command space launches Spotlight to search and launch apps, and throwing in that Option key takes you right into the Finder to execute the search and opens Finder for you right there. My voice is getting gravelly. What's going on? All right. Here's another Mac Tiny tip that I use all the time. You know how if you copy some text from a source, like a web page, for example, and then you paste it into another document, the formatting comes along with it and it looks terrible in your document? Well, there's a lot of tools out there to get past this problem, including clipboard managers. They usually have a way to, say, strip off the formatting. But it turns out the Mac has this built into it as an automatic way to paste without bringing the formatting along for the ride. We all use Command-C to copy and Command-V to paste, right? Throw in that handy-dandy Option key again, and Command-Option-V pastes without the formatting. Seriously, this works in pretty much every text-based app I have ever used. I recently posted a tiny tip on how to add a line feed on iOS when the app you're using doesn't have a return key. You can use dictation and say new line instead, or thanks to what we learned from Yope, a much easier way, we learned that tapping the 1, 2, 3 button in the bottom left gives you a return key to enter those line feeds. With some apps and services, we have the same problem on the Mac of not being able to add a line feed easily. Let's take Apple Messages as an example. If you're typing away in Messages, say Telegram or Slack, and if you hit enter, your text will instantly be sent. Most of the time that's what you want, but sometimes you want to separate 2 thoughts and have a line feed to make them easier to read. In most apps on the Mac, not 100%, but most of them, if you hold down our favorite Option key and then hit enter, you will get your precious line feed. Now, one of my favorite places to use Option Enter is when I want to nicely format a column heading in Excel, controlling on exactly which word the text will wrap. Now, the one chatting app that doesn't obey this rule is Discord. Where Enter sends, it turns out Shift Enter adds a line feed, and I can never ever remember it. I always have to go back and look it up. So I did look in the forums about it, and there are comments going back 4 years to 4 months ago in the Discord discussions asking for options on this behavior, but evidently the Discord team just doesn't want to change it. Oh well, Option Enter is available in almost every app for Mac OS. I sure enjoy making these tiny Mac tips, and if you have some you haven't heard me mention that will help the new or even seasoned Mac users up their game, send them along to me so I can share. All right. John, don't be posting pictures of planes. You're going to get Pete all excited.
Hey, is it possible we just learned 5 new things here?
Oh, Pete's going to like that. All right. Where am I? What's next? Oh, it's time to plug Pete. All right.
Yes.
Glad you remembered that CSUN interview.
Yeah, it was starting to get a little stale.
Well, mostly I needed more content than I had. I mean, it'll be an hour, so I learned a lot. Jill said, good. All right, here we go. Nope, not quite that ready. This week, instead of panhandling for money to support the Podfeed podcast, I'm going to do a little podcast swap promotion. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a unique new podcast called So There I Was. If you're a fan of aviation or simply enjoy hearing captivating stories, then this is the podcast for you. Hosted by former Marine pilots Fig and Repeat, this podcast shares firsthand accounts of flying experiences that will have you on the edge of your seat. By the way, you may know Repeat as Pilot Pete. Now, these guys not only tell their own stories from the comedic to the harrowing, they interview other pilots with amazing tales of adventure in the sky. You'll hear from fighter pilots, astronauts, Blue Angels, aircraft carrier captains, Navy and Coast Guard rescue pilots, and many more. Most have survived near-death experiences, and others have overcome incredible disabilities to continue to fly airplanes. I listened to a recent episode where the guys interviewed 97-year-old, almost 98-year-old, retired U.S. Navy Captain Royce Williams, while he told the story of how he single-handedly shot down 4 Russian MiGs in his Panther aircraft during the Korean War when it was top secret that the Russians were fighting against us. Not only is it an amazing story, but listening to how the incredible level of respect the guys had for Captain Williams, it was really heartwarming. That was probably my favorite part. I mean, they were just in awe of the greatness they were with on the show. Now, I'm going to warn you, the show has a lot of aviation jargon in it, but they've actually created a glossary because of this over at I'll get it yet. So there I was.us. You can go over there if you want to learn some more about these terms as you're listening to the show. But I want you to know that you're going to laugh, you're going to cry. You'll laugh until you cry, but one thing is certain, you will not be bored. So there I was. It's how all great aviation tales begin. Look for So There I Was in your podcatcher of choice. I can't believe you proofread that, Pete. I found a bunch of typos in that.
I think there is a missing quotation in the last line.
Okay. Where would it be?
So there I was. It starts, quote, so there I was. It's how all great aviation tales begin. I'm guessing end quote should be there.
Oh, I think.
Or did you want?
I'm going to blame Pete for that one. Actually, it was supposed to be begin and not begins. I think he wants. God, also begin looks funny. How do you spell begin? B-E-G-I-N?
Sure, that works.
Okay.
Pete says, was I supposed to proof it?
Of course you were. And I found one article I talked about that had an open parentheses and no close. I found another one that had a close and no open. So I figure it's balanced out. I'm okay.
Yeah, it works out in the wash.
All right. Oh, I guess I didn't have that much reading. I thought those were going to take a lot longer. It is time for security bits. Music.
Yeah, she did a pretty good read, I'd say.
Oh, I did okay?
He said awesome.
Good. Yeah, we went back and forth because I wanted to add my own flavor to it. Pete tried to write it for me, but I don't like to obey anybody.
Boy, do I.
Hey. All right.
Oh.
What?
Did
I forget the chapter?
No. I just want to make sure you don't edit too soon.
What do you mean? Oh, you want this. Okay.
I don't hear it.
Neither did I.
Are you muted on that track?
No.
I don't hear any of that.
Neither do I.
I don't hear anything coming out of Hindenburg.
Well,
do you have to maybe relaunch?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, if you want me to do that Pete thing, don't let me forget to do the chapter mark though. I'm gonna put the chapter
Okay.
mark in first just to be
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Because security bits is the most important thing to chapterize, I think. Because people go back and listen to that or just listen to that. I'm convinced 50% of the audience only listens to Bart. Okay, I'm gonna quit Hindenburg and I'll have to bring it back in for you. No, don't switch. Make sure this plays. Nope, it's not playing. Well, that's fun. All right, Jill. you know you're my go-to. What would make it not?
I'm also hearing
playable?
crackling from you.
Are you?
Yeah, interesting. Do you hear it in Discord when Allison talks or when I talk? Either of us? Do you hear any crackling?
Some enchanted evening.
It may just be on the YouTubes.
You will hear a stranger.
No crackling. Okay.
All right. What did it do? Playback
Oh,
is
it's
over.
back?
Auto Wave XR. All right, Jill. What do you think it is? It's not making.
So you're
any
not
little
hearing it
bouncy
in
things.
Discord either, I take it.
I'm not hearing it, Steve.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they can hear it.
I don't
Because you do have two separate audio
that one
paths.
has an S on it. But the main one doesn't. Try to convince me that.
There you
that's
go.
weird. The S was only on the second one.
Solo?
The interview had gotten. Well, I'm glad it wrecked all of them. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jill. Oh, now we gotta play the plink for Steve. There is it.
It's actually for Al.
Al's not here, man.
Yeah, but he'll listen to this later.
Blink.
There we go.
Blink. Blink.
All right, two's good.
Blink. Blink.
Actually,
blink,
when you overdo it, it
blink,
kind of
blink.
it gets stale.
Oh, does it? Okay. Let me see how that looks. Let's see. It looks pretty good. I'm hungry. Okay. Get rid of this one. Get rid of this one. Cut this one right here. And slide that straight up. And then I can slide both of these until they go to there. Uh-oh. Is he going to plink? Huh. Oh, I've got Discord muted, so I don't hear Steve.
Yeah.
Hang on. I got to do it again, but I think I know what he did. Nice. All right, let's hear how this starts. Of choice. Their plinker on. Well, it's that time of the week again.
Ooh.
It's time for Security Bits with Bart
Nailed it.
Shots coming from a pollen-filled, sunny Ireland.
Pollen-filled sunny Ireland with sporadic thunderstorms. It's been quite the day. We have a thing called April showers here, and it may be the last day of April, but they're in fine form today. It's like blazing sunshine, 19 degrees Celsius, downpour. Blazing sunshine, 19 degrees Celsius, downpour.
Wow.
Nice,
nice and humid?
Very humid, but if I could gamify cycling, I won like the grand prize today. There was a giant big downpour coming towards me, and I skirted around the north of it by like 500 meters, stuck in behind, and followed it all the way home. I could just see the rain ahead of me, and I was like, I'm fine here, and the wind is in my back, and I just went all the way home with the rain in front of me. It was great.
Gamify the storm. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are there any thunderstorms in the security world this week, Bart? Okay, I was proud of that. Made a little transition. All right. The rest of this is just going to be paying this, but we are going to do an audience participation thing. Are a lot of people on their Macs right now? Because this requires your Mac to actually execute this solution, this thing we're going to do here.
And it's for their benefit.
Yes. Zoe's here. Now, Steve was unable to follow these directions.
I was able. My Mac had a different setting, which they may too. So it's good that I ran into that.
But you dragged it onto the desktop, which was not in the directions, and you broke it.
I like dragging things on the desktop.
Okay. So if you've got your Mac here, here's the problem to be solved. Bart talked about there's a 0-day update on in Chromium browsers. So Chrome, Edge, Brave, Arc, whatever you use, and you need to open them and they'll auto update. But
0-day exploit
what'd I say?
update.
Yeah, probably. 0-day exploit. So, but what Bart pointed out, and I didn't even think about this, is that Electron apps are Chromium. So that means all of your Chromium apps or all of your Electron apps are also affected by this 0-day bug. So what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to find out what all of your Electron apps are so you can go launch them one by one and make sure they update. Are you ready? I'm going to give you a link, and everyone knows that it's perfectly safe to download scripts from the internet. So it don't look at it, don't read it. Just double click it when it comes out. No, seriously, you can open this up. So download that. Well, that's interesting, John. So John thinks he only has one. So we'll find out whether that's true. So download this file and then double click it to expand the zip file. And then if you're smart, you will right click on it and open it in a text editor and look at it and make sure it doesn't say anything like steal all of my passwords. All right. Oh, Zoe's in Minnesota. So you're here in the right time. Okay. So once you have it, now that you've got that file downloaded, what I want you to do is open the terminal. And God, there's another closing parentheses missing. And if you haven't opened the terminal before, it is in Applications Utilities. And tell me if people think I'm going too quickly. But if you've got the terminal open, I want you to do this command. You can copy and paste this. We're going to change directory into your downloads folder. And you do that with this command. And this is where Steve broke it because he dragged it out to his desktop, which meant it wouldn't work. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the file executable. So you're going to paste this in. So this is changing the permissions of the file so that it's executable. All right.
It's hard to grab these when they're scrolling quickly. But
okay, well, good luck. And then you're almost done. This is the last thing, and you're going to run it as bash. So bash electroncheck.sh, and that should spit out onto your screen what all of your Electron apps are. So I'll be curious to see what you find out and what John in particular finds out if he finds out more. I ended up with, I think I had like 12.
I had about 6, as I recall, which I've already changed.
Have you? You mean you've opened them and closed them again?
Yeah.
Did they all update?
3, 4, 5, 6. Well, no, actually, none of them did. I mean, they may have updated in the background, or they previously had already updated.
No such file or directory. Now, did you get that when you actually ran the script, Sandy?
So that maybe she didn't do the change directory command?
Maybe. No, it doesn't take a minute at all.
You typed it, you
into
didn't
terminal.
But you didn't copy paste.
But which I doubt you have nothing. Do you have one password?
Well, if you're running Discord right now, that one should come up.
Yeah, Discord. Discord
also
is
Slack.
one of them.
Any of you Slack users, that should come up.
Yeah. I hope there's not a problem in the instructions.
You guys are on Macs, right?
And you did you changed directory to the downloads folder. I hope the instructions work. I sent it to Pat and she ran through them.
7.
Turns out I have
that sounds
7,
about right.
John says. Yeah, I have a couple like that. I've got Visual Studio, Airtable, 1Password, Dropbox, Notion. Jill, you've got Notion. I know that. Web Catalog, and I got to go find out what the heck that is. I've never even heard of Web Catalog. There's Mike's.
Mike's got, he's got several. That looks right.
Yeah, Obsidian, I've got that one. Folga. Password, Todoist, Draggy, and Dropbox. So you're not in Discord right now, John?
Yes, John is in Discord. I see him there.
Yeah, but he might be in it on his iPad.
Oh, good point. Yes.
Oh, no, he's still listing. Hit return by mistake. Yeah, see? You have to use shift return to paste again.
So have you told them explicitly what to do now that they have their list? Or did you say that?
So
I
you
forget
want
if
to
you said
open
that.
each app and watch it update. But Steve, if it didn't update, that's something to watch for. You want to keep opening it until you get it to launch.
I've opened a few times. I think
No,
it's
I
already.
know.
I launch these things a lot, so it may be that they've already updated. When was the 0 day
Well, he told
found?
us about it today. I'd have to go look at it. Sandy, did you get it figured out? Let me check the date on it. The date on the article that he posted to it in Tigo is April 16th. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so that's good. But if there's some that you have that you don't open all the time, that'd be a thing to do.
Right. I didn't know Skype. I may have updated. I don't think I had been on Skype.
All right, Jill got hers working. So Sandy, you downloaded into the downloads folder? Like maybe your when you download files, they don't go into the downloads folder? Didn't realize I still had Skype. Yeah, you do find out what you have on there. But did you download the script? Maybe you skipped that part. Why is it copy M coming up? That's weird. Oh, you skipped it. Okay, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. All right. So open those apps up and make sure that they have updated at least in the last. If it's an app you use all the time, like I think Hindenburg is actually one of them too, isn't it? Oh no, it isn't. Feels like it. Feels like a.
But there's none of these require user action other than just reopening them.
Correct.
They all
should
auto update.
Right, they should. So I'm going to make sure I get all of those open.
So is that true with all Electron apps that they will auto update if you just open them again?
Well, they should, because the Chromium browser auto updates. Remember a few years ago we used to have to always update, and now it updates as soon as you go in whenever you open it.
Okay, so it's by virtue of them being Chromium based.
Correct.
Got it.
Well, unless should we wait for Sandy to get her list? Oh, thank goodness you got. Updating my Electron app may not auto update. Wait, have you written an Electron app, Mike? So exciting.
Or delete the app if you don't use it. Yeah. That's another way it's probably a better way to handle it.
Yeah, I was looking at this. So like I've got Obsidian in here and I don't use Obsidian. I think I played with it though. Do I have any files in there I need? Joplin. I've got a bunch that I haven't opened in a while. Electron wrapper for an NPM JavaScript module. Ooh.
NPM.
Node package manager. Oh, okay.
Oh, use it on Windows. All right.
Well, let's see. Oh, I haven't finished recording. Huh. I have to do my outro here.
Outro.
Still. That would be a good thing to remember to do. All right. And plus, you learned how to do something on the terminal. How exciting is that? All right. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Did you know you can email me at allison@podfeet.com anytime you like? If you have a question or a suggestion, just send it on over. You can follow me on Mastodon at podfeet at chaos.social. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. If you want to join in the fun of the conversation, you can join our Slack community at podfeet.com/Slack, where you can talk to me and all of the other lovely Nosilla castaways, even Bart. You can support the show at podfeet.com/Patreon or with a one-time donation at podfeet.com/PayPal. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Pilot Pete himself, also known as Repeat on his podcast, So There I Was, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed.
A double plug.
Yeah. Why not?
Sure. Well, actually, 3 times is best.
I like to mention when people show up to the chat room that haven't been here in a while. So.
Oh, look at is it Waylon?
Oh, is this the new puppy?
The new puppy. Thanks
You
for joining
love
us, Rick.
again. Bye, Rick. For listening and stay subscribed. All right. Oh my goodness. That reminds me of Dodger when he was a baby.
Yeah.
All right. So looking for chapter marks. Chapter marks, Steve.
Yes.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep.
Good.
We're good.
You got
I see 6 lights.
All right. I'm going to export. I'm going to let the class out early today. What do you think about
earned it.
that?
10 minutes early. Did good.
All right, Mike. We'll miss you next week, but you'll miss 2 episodes, 2 weeks. All right. Oh, good, Zoe. Next 2 or 3. Oh, no, that's not good. All right. Goodbye. Let us go, Steve.
Goodbye, Podfeet, and have a nice week.